record this once we get going. Bring this up. Oh, come on in.
Okay.
They popping in. That's my assistant right there.
Tell I'm here.
Hey girl, hey. Hey boy, hey.
Okay.
This is Ashia. Come on in. They said they love your lipstick.
Oh, thank you.
We have a really good conversation for you today. I met Ashia at a Dollar General. Well, no, we were at the Publix.
Yeah, Maddie.
But Madison and I were either at a Publix or a Dollar
Publix.
General.
Mm-hmm.
And so we met Ashia. Ashia recognized Madison and was like, oh my God, I love you. Da, 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 da. And started talking to us in the grocery store. That was probably like, what, a month ago?
About 2 months.
2 months ago?
Yeah.
It was about 2 months ago. And I got her information because I wanted to have a conversation with her. This is not a replay, this is live. But I wanted to have a conversation with her because she started telling her story while we were in the Publix. And I said, no, I don't want to know any more. You got to come on my podcast and tell this story. So you called this podcast what?
The good, the bad, and the ugly side of grief.
Yes, now let's turn this music off. I'm trying to give you guys time to get in. Please hit the share button. I know this is not my normal time to go live. Good day, thinkers, thought leaders, progressives, and dreamers.
Okay.
I'm Craig TheWriter Stewart, and this is the Facebook and YouTube live versions of So Much to Say. These are my thoughts in my voice on black shit, white shit, gay shit, and everything in between. Today we're talking about the everything in between. So hit the share button, please. Hit the share button, and I'm going to hit the record button over here on the podcast. Now, this podcast will actually drop tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. You know, we do a brand new podcast each and every Monday at 10 a.m. And since Ashia came today, I figured I would have the conversation today. Yeah, don't act ugly because we got company today. You know, they be talking shit.
Of course, all the time.
Happy Father's Day.
Yes, happy Father's Day to all the fathers, the grandfathers, the uncles, and the brothers.
Yes,
and
happy
the
Father's
stepdads
Day.
as well.
Happy Father's Day. And happy, well, you know, some mothers that are single mothers, they don't like to be.
And to the single mothers as well.
Right. Because I know some of you are doing both roles. But anyway, okay, so I really want to get the very beginning of the story. I met you in a grocery store about 2 months ago.
Yes, with Madison.
With Madison. And I don't even know how we started talking about your story. I don't even know how we got on that.
Well, I met Madison. Well, I've always followed Madison on IG. Mm-hmm. But during the holidays, I saw her and Miss Mary at the grocery store. So me and her always so happened to meet at Publix. So when I saw her this time, I was like, oh, hey, Maddie, you know, how you doing? And I just saw that she was going through some of the issues she was having. So she was like, oh, my God, you saw that? So, you know, we were just talking and you were there. Mm-hmm. And so you were like, I was trying to explain to her how to
handle the grief.
Yes.
Yes.
She said one of her friends.
Right, her best friend died. Mm-hmm. And you started talking about how you had experienced a loss. So tell us, who did you lose? When did you lose your loved one, and how?
Okay, so...
Do we need to get some tissue because your eyes are already watering?
Oh, no. I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, so it'll be 5 years this month on the 25th of June.
Okay.
I lost my only child, Sierra.
Okay.
And she was born with a disability. Okay. So basically, I took on that role and that challenge like nothing. It was like, this is what I have to deal with. I'm gonna do it. You know, it was nothing that she needed or wanted for that I wasn't gonna do. Not if I had to sort out all kind of resources, or if I had to move to another state, I was gonna do it.
Are you from here?
I'm not from Georgia.
Okay.
I moved here in 2006 because of her.
Okay.
I'm actually from Alabama.
Okay.
And so, me being a teen mom, because I had her at a young age.
Okay.
And most people, most teenage girls, when they get pregnant, the worst. I mean, you never think about you're gonna have a special needs child.
Right, right.
You know, all you thinking about, oh, I'm gonna dress my daughter up in this and that, but she was born with cerebral palsy, had a severe seizure disorder, and when she was in and out the hospital, and I was still in high school.
Okay, when all of this was happening.
When all this was happening, and so what I did was I educated myself. I talked to the doctors. I asked all the questions because I needed to educate myself in order to be able to provide for my daughter and make sure she got the right health care. Nobody taught me how to do it. Nobody told me what to do. I just knew as a mother that I had to do it. Like, I knew something was wrong, but I couldn't because I wasn't educated enough. I didn't know the terminology of anything. So what I did, I took it upon myself and say, I looked at my daughter and we're going to do this together. I'm not gonna just put you off on my mom or your dad or my family. This is my job. This is my role.
Did you have help from your family?
My family, of course, but I had a lot of help, and they offered so much, but I didn't want their help because I felt like it was my job. It wasn't nobody else's job to do it.
So, how old was your daughter when you lost her?
She was 21.
Okay, and so she had a seizure, and that's what...
No, she ended up having... We moved to New Jersey in 2013, and I got a scholarship to finish up my education. Okay. So I have a degree in biology and chemistry. Okay. So I went to New Jersey. In 11 months when I was there, while I was still in school, in my program, she passed away. She had complications from surgery. And I knew that what she was going through and what she'd been going through for 21 years, I knew that our fight, was over. So I just had to say my goodbyes, say my piece, and, let her know that she's going to continue on somewhere else, and I'm going to be here, but we will meet, we will meet again. Right.
So, for those who may not know a lot about cerebral palsy, so what types of complications did she experience over the years? Was it a lot of in-hospital type
We were in a hospital a lot, but I was able to manage it. Okay. Like surgeries, which we didn't have a lot of, but she did have them. She had a severe seizure disorder to the point where she was allergic to seizure medication. And because her body built up a tolerance over the years with the medication, that she couldn't even take medication. Okay. So basically, when 2009, I actually had to have she was born in 1992. So from 1992 to the year of 2009, I did it all by myself. But in 2009, when her health started declining, I had to end up bringing in nurses to help me with her care.
So you said that you wanted to take on this responsibility yourself, and so you wanted to sort through everything, you wanted to figure out how to manage it all. What were some of the things that you learned that you would have to do, or what were some of the needs that she would have? Because you said you moved here because of her.
Like in some states, I can't say all states, but in some states, when you're dealing with, when your child need, like, just say catheterization, some of those things are not paid for through Medicaid. Even though I was working and she was getting Medicaid, but at the same time, a lot of the specialists, it's kind of hard to get in, and people would think that, because you have a special needs child, it should be automatically. You still have to fight. Right. The doctor's appointment may be 2 months out. And what are you going to do in between time until you get into the specialist? Right. So at the end of the day, it was just like, it was hard because it wasn't a lot that was offered. And a lot of the time I would have to go to Birmingham. So if I'm going to go to Birmingham, which is 3 hours away from my hometown, let me just move to a bigger city to where I can get the things that I need.
So were there programs for like funding?
Yeah, there are programs and funding, but at the end of the day, I guess because I'm just so selfless that I knew that I can do it, and I knew what I was capable of, and if she needed, I would get it. But majority of the time, I would try not to use those resources because I felt like there was another child. This child next to her needed a little bit more than what she did.
Something you said earlier, like right out the gate, it reminded me of a girl that I went to high school with. And she ended up, well, I'm from Baltimore, and so at one point, Baltimore was one of those cities that had the highest teen pregnancy rates in the country. And so, of course, I went to school with a lot of girls that had kids. And so a girl that I was friends with at the time, she ended up having, well, she kind of waited. She was one of the ones that didn't have a kid. But she ended up getting to that point where she was ready to have a kid. We had gone through college and everything. But she had gotten to that point that she was single and she was just ready to have a kid because all of her girlfriends had kids. And so she ended up having a son. And he had so many complications. And that was one of those things, to your point, when you're having your first child, especially if you're underage, you're not really thinking about all of the things that could go, quote unquote, wrong. He was in the hospital, I think, probably 10 months out of the first year of his life. He has like I think it's like a trach type.
A tracheotomy.
Yes, he has that. I mean, he was born underweight. Like, he had a lot of issues. And she became resentful of like her mom, her sister, because she was at the hospital every day. But her mom and sister, they weren't there every day. I mean, they came, and I can't say how often they went to visit, but they were there. But she was there every day, and she became resentful of them because she felt like they weren't really
the
supporting her the way that she needed. And so it really kind of affected her relationship with her sibling. And her mom.
You know what I can tell her about that, just from my own experience. Like, my family, when I moved here, like when we were in Alabama, my family would always come. But when I moved here, when she would go into the hospital, you know, Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, the best. They gave me phenomenal treatment. But when we moved here, it was kind of hard for my family members to come. And when they did come, you know, they would come for a weekend, you know, to see her.
But did you ever have like relief? Did you ever have anybody that could just...
I'm gonna tell you like this. I didn't want the relief.
Okay.
You know, come and she'll stay for a couple of hours. You know, she'll stay all day. And I got so accustomed to sleeping on the hospital bed, and when you have to change nurses, and you know, when you're just dealing with a special needs child, you just want to be hands-on. And the relief, it comes, but at the end of the day, when they see that you handle it so good, because that's why I said my family, they saw me handling it so good. I never say, I need y'all, I need you, I need you. I always just took it. And just went with it.
And I say to them all the time, like, I really do believe that God, the universe, knows what each of us needs to grow us.
Yes.
For me, it was financially. Like, I lost everything. Car was repossessed, bank account was overdrawn, $660. But it doesn't happen that way for everybody. Some people, it's the loss of a loved one. Some people, it's cancer, it's a bout with cancer. Some people, it's a divorce. Like, I believe that God, the universe, knows what each of us needs to grow us to that next level. So would you say that this really, like, grew you?
Her death? Her passing?
All of it. Just her condition.
Her condition, it grew me. It made me grow up faster. And it made me take on the role as a mother even more, you know. And it was just like, I was just 18 years old with a special needs child. I was just so mature. Like, she really matured me. And if it wasn't for her, she made me who I am today. My life would probably be in a whole different perspective if God hadn't picked, if I wasn't, you know, giving her. So I owe all of my accomplishments, everything that I work for, everything that I strive for, everything that I stand for, I owed it to her.
Because you got 2 degrees, you said.
Yes.
And all while she was caring for her.
Yes.
Now, what exactly is cerebral palsy?
Cerebral palsy is a condition where it you know, with your muscles, like your development of your muscles, your limbs. So basically, she didn't walk, she didn't talk. So I had to form a type of communication where I know when she was in pain, when she was hungry, if she was happy, if she was sad. So I had to just, you know, learn, because it was a learning process for me. So basically, we learned together, me and her.
So were you able to identify that she was going to be special needs before she was born, or was it right after she was born?
She was about 3 months old, and I kept saying, she's not developing. And I was still in high school. Like, I never knew, but I knew that something was wrong. And
but you were paying attention.
Yes, I was paying attention, and I was like, something is not right. So I took her to a pediatrician, and I was like, you know, somebody else I know who has a 3-month-old, their baby is doing this, but my daughter's not doing this. And she did a full examination, and then that's when she referred us to a neurologist. Then from there on, everything just started bam, bam, bam.
Okay.
So basically, it was those 3 months was basically preparing me for what I needed to know for the rest of the years.
Right. So with this information, you jumped in and just got to work, got busy. How did it impact her father? Did he withdraw? Because I think that sometimes, especially when you're talking about death, and not in this situation, but you know how sometimes in your family, like you may have a parent that passes away, and that parent may have several children, or let's just say they're in the hospital for a period. You may have one or two of the children that are always there at the hospital, but some people just don't handle seeing their parent that way. So was that the case with him?
No.
Or he was still hands-on?
He was hands-on.
Okay.
Very hands-on. And we both were young. He graduated a year before I did.
Okay.
So we were young parents.
Right.
And his mom and his family, and my family, everybody stepped up. So basically, we had a good support system.
Okay.
And I can't knock that.
Right.
But, but at the same time, they offered the help. I had my breaks, and her grandmother, her father's mother would come, and she would stay.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, I just knew that it was my responsibility as a mother to just see everything through.
Yeah. So how did her passing affect you? Because that's where we connected in the grocery store that day.
Yes.
So what?
Yes.
Take us through, and I want you to speak directly to. Just imagine there's.
I'm gonna have a drink.
Yes, go ahead and take a sip. Just imagine there's somebody watching you there, right in that dark space that you were in at that time. So just imagine if you were talking to yourself at that point.
Okay. So we were in New Jersey for 11 months.
Okay.
And she got sick. She had ended up having like an emergency surgery. It was just a little outpatient surgery. And so the next day, she wasn't feeling too good, but I took her to another doctor's appointment. Because prior to me moving to New Jersey and to finish up my education, I sought out the hospitals, the doctors, everything that I wanted.
Research.
I wanted to make sure everything was going to be
close by and on top of everything,
So the day that she passed away, I took her to the doctor that morning. And so like my daughter was like right in front of me, and no complication, no signs of distress or anything. I mean, I've been dealing with this for 21 years, so I just know her every move. So the doctor was like, her heart rate is a little high, and I was like, yeah, she had a little, outpatient surgery yesterday. So she was on a diet called a ketogenic diet that people are on now. But basically, this diet was designed for kids with special needs.
Okay.
So she was on this diet called ketogenic diet, and she's been on that since 2009. So she was actually doing very well. No seizure medication because she was allergic to seizure medication.
Okay, right.
So when we were leaving the doctor's appointment, I was putting her in the car. And so when I put her in the car, she had a seizure. And I was like, okay, maybe, because it's hot, I'm gonna take you home and, turn the air conditioner on you and put you on some oxygen.
And so you're having conversation with her even though she can't talk.
Right, because, let her know, Mommy, it's going to be okay. Yeah. So I put her in the car, and so her nurse was coming in about maybe like 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock. So, and mind you, I scheduled her surgery because this was in May, so I was done with my semester of school. Okay. So I kind of scheduled her surgery around my school work so that way I can be there. Yeah. And because I didn't have any family members with me in Jersey. Right. So when I got her home, I laid her down, and when her nurse came in, I told her, I said, she had a seizure, but she already knew, she was aware that Sierra had, an outpatient surgery the day before. So when I laid Sierra down in the bed, I was like, I'm going to lay down now, I'm going to take me a nap. And so the nurse, my niece, she was there in New Jersey with us. Okay. She knocked on my door. She was like, Auntie, something is wrong with Sierra. And I was like, what? And so I jumped up. Now, this is 2 hours later.
From the doctor's appointment?
Yes, because we only live 5 minutes away. So I jumped up, and she was like, you got to call 911. She was like, she can't breathe. She's like, she's in distress. I just laid my daughter down, Wasn't no signs. I mean, I've been with her all morning, no signs of distress, no signs of nothing. So we called 911. The ambulance came. Her nurse rode in the ambulance with her, and I drove. So I beat them to the hospital because I was like, wait a minute,
Right.
something's, So I wasn't thinking that this was going to be it. I was thinking maybe she just having complications from her surgery. So by the time I got her to the hospital, her lungs had collapsed. Her intestine had erupted. Like, it was just a cascade of fit. Everything just like bam, bam, bam. And so they just did a lot of tests. You checked her blood levels and everything. They put a central line in because her heart rate was so high that they couldn't get her body relaxed enough to do a full thorough workup. So
because her body was tense, I guess.
And she was just sweating so bad. And my daughter only weighed 80 pounds. And so her heart rate was like 160, 170, 180. So they was just so they had to put a central line in so they can get to sedate her, to incubate her, because we were like, I was like, just put her in a coma so you guys can do what you need to do. And so they did that. They did the process. And by then, it was so much. That's when I found out everything. Like, I thought they were moving fast enough, but in reality, they actually were. I was the one who was just like, wait a minute, I was panicking because I'm like, what is really going on? So they like, well, they told me all these things. They had to incubate her lungs. They had to drain the fluid off. And then when her intestines erupted, bowel had set in, sepsis had set in. All this was in like bam, bam, bam.
Right.
And I'm like, okay. So they were like, we need to open her up to find out where is this hole coming from. And that's when I, as a mother, had to make that decision. I was like, do I want her to go through this? Because I know once sepsis set in, I know once they remove your intestines, I know that it's going to be multiple surgeries after that just to put everything back in. So I just had to have a talk with myself, have a talk with God, and come with a conclusion like, you know what? Enough is enough.
So did you feel like maybe I should call my mom or talk to somebody, before you just made a decision right there?
Because I didn't want her to have to suffer anymore. Like, she done had multiple surgeries. We done had so many hospital stays. And I just felt like at that time, like, and I asked the doctors, I was like, what are her chances of, if I let you do the surgery, what are her chances? And they told me 50-50. So 50-50.
Yeah.
So I had to just make that decision and just say, you know what, just put her on comfort measures.
So what were your next steps? Like, once that happened, how long after that did you leave the hospital?
When I elected to put her on comfort measures, and this was maybe like 3 o'clock in the morning. And so they was like, okay, you can go home and we'll call you when we start the process. And I was like, okay. So I went home because I only lived 5 minutes away. So we went home and they were calling me, but also the organ network was calling me as well because I wanted her to be an organ donor.
Yeah.
But she couldn't because when your body is septic, there's no way that they can use any of her organs.
Right.
So they were calling me and they was like, she passed at 4:45. And I was like, what? You guys didn't call me, but
it was about an hour and 45 minutes after you had left.
Yeah. So because I was really torn. Like, did I really make the right decision? Because as a mother, I was like, dang, did I really make the right decision?
So, because your decision was to put her on comfort medication, just to kind of like
measures
until she just
started the process. Yes.
But she ended up passing.
Yes.
So did you feel relief, quote unquote, that you had made the right decision?
I did.
Since she
at
did
the same
pass?
time, but I didn't.
Right.
Because even though I know that I made the right decision, but at the same time, as a mother, you still have that in the back of your head, like, did I really make the right decision? And at the time, I was calling my family members because they were in Alabama, and the time different, and so people was like, what? Everybody was like, what happened, you know, and me trying to explain to them, and I couldn't explain to them,
and still try to grieve
and they were
the
like, I don't want her, you know, to pass. Like my family, they didn't want me to make that decision, but I told them, you know, I just knew as a mother that the fight was over.
So this conversation with your family was happening once you left the hospital, but before
I even left the hospital, when I had decided to put her on, you know, my mom, you know, her, you know, my friends, my family, you know, everybody, they were just like, we don't want this to happen. They do the surgery, and I was like, and I knew her body wasn't going to make it. So I just didn't want to put her through that anymore.
So when the hospital called you at 4:45,
I jumped up.
And did what?
And I was like, I told my niece, I said, we got to go. Sierra just passed. And she just hollered and screamed because they so used to her going to the hospital and coming home. Nobody expect for her not to come back.
Right. So at this point, are you crying?
I'm crying. Just like, you know, I just ran into the hospital. You know, security was like, where are you going? I was like, my daughter just passed. I got to go. And so they just let me in. And so, you know, when she was there, you know, she looked at peace. And I was just like, you know, you did good. You know, you fought a good fight. You did good, and I'm proud of you. And you know, and I love you. And you know, it was just like, you know, she gave me the best 21 years of my life. The best. I wouldn't ask for nothing else. That was like the best thing that ever happened to me.
So at what point did you call her dad to let him know?
I was calling her dad. But he wasn't answering the phone.
Because it was 3 in the morning in Jersey. So in Alabama, it was like 2. Yeah.
So I was calling, and a lot of people wasn't picking up. You know, they were just like, you know, nobody would never expect that.
Right.
And they would never expect to get that phone call.
Yeah.
And so when I called him, he was like, so you telling me my daughter is not here anymore? And I was like, yeah, she's not here. And he just took a silent breath, and he just like let out, because she was my first child and his first child. He just, and it really changed him. Death really hit him, but it really hit me harder.
In what way?
It hit me in a way of, I didn't know, because I was a caretaker for 21 years.
Because at this point, how old were you?
Oh God, this was in 2014. So I'll be 44.
Okay. So that was 5 years ago. So you were 39.
39, yeah. She passed 5 days before my birthday.
Oh.
Yes.
And so you said it hit you hard. Like,
it hit me hard because after she passed, you know, people don't understand, when you have a loved one or a family member that passed in another state, that's not your hometown, and especially if you're taking them back home, you have to have, basically I had to have 2 funerals.
Yeah.
Because I had to get a funeral home there to prep her.
Yes.
And then ship her body to Alabama, to where she's, you know, buried.
Yeah.
So basically I was like, my birthday had came and gone. Like, I didn't even realize that my birthday had came and gone because I'm busy planning a funeral, you know. And so after I got her body off and on the plane to Alabama, that's when I booked my flight, you know, because...
So like, at any point, did any of your family members or friends come up to Jersey to... No. Nobody
came. Everybody called.
Right.
And I wouldn't want them to come to Jersey because I was coming home anyway. So, but when I got home, like, everybody was like, what do you need? We're going to, you know, this and that. And so when I got off the plane to Alabama, you know, I had the support anyway. And everybody was calling and asking, were you okay? But I wasn't okay. But at the end of the day, I knew that I had to finish what I started.
Right.
You just can't. I couldn't put that off on nobody else.
So, since it was 5 days before your birthday...
Like, my birthday had came and went. Yeah. I didn't even think about my birthday. Like, I never celebrated my birthday from that point on because...
That was what I was going to ask you. So now, 5 years later, do you ever get to really kind of celebrate your birthday? Do you look forward to your birthday, or do you kind of
just like
dread it because that's kind of like the time...
Prior to May 7th, I did, but like now I don't dread it anymore.
Okay.
But I had to just get everything together, get her casket, make all the arrangements, pay for everything and I thank God I was in a position to do that because a lot of people are not in that position to do it. So
because like when you fly a body, like I've never had to do that.
It's about $2,000.
You have to pay that?
Yes,
That's not something that life insurance or anything covers?
She had a life insurance policy, but at the same time, you don't, because you're grieving, and those are the things you don't want people in your personal business like that, because I just felt like her life insurance policy was her business, and if I have the money to pay for it, let me go ahead and pay for it, because I don't want you digging into what her personal life and what I had, for her. So basically, I paid for everything out of pocket, out of my savings account. I just paid for everything. And a lot of people think that you have to get the casket from the funeral home. You don't, because I didn't want a standard, because this is my girl, this is my angel, and I wanted nothing but the best for her. Even when her body they received her body, put a pair of panties and a bra on her, because I wanted her dignity to still be respected, that's my child. I wasn't there to do all of that, and I would have if I had to beat her there, but because I wasn't there, cover her up, put a bra on and some panties, and I had somebody to go buy those items to make sure that they put that on my daughter, because I wanted her to still be treated with dignity and respect.
So you said that it got really dark for you. So like her death
really got dark for me. So once I buried her and got her back, I got back to New Jersey because I was still in school. And so 11 months after.
So you finished the semester, you didn't take off?
She passed in June, so I was actually on summer.
break.
So school started back 6 weeks later. And I just dove everything into my education, because at the same time I had got a scholarship as well. So I talked to my professors, and they knew, and they was like, no, you don't have to come back this semester. And I knew that if I didn't come back, because everything I was doing was for her. Everything, me busing, going this extra mile, it was for her, because I wanted her to have a better life. Everything, I wanted her to have, like my house, what I work hard for, everything is basically for her. And I always told my family members, if I leave this earth today or tomorrow, there's no reason why y'all can't come here and stay. This is a house I bought for her, so that way she'll always have a roof over her head. There is no need for you guys to put her in a nursing home. Don't spend my life insurance money on a funeral. You can cremate me and I'll be fine. Use every dollar that I have to take care of her. So that way you don't have to say she's a burden to you. Right. And everybody knew.
That was the way you were planning.
That was my plan from.
Yeah, in the event you passed first, which most parents expect.
Right. Yeah. So when I, school, and I just bust my ass in school, I just put all that energy into. My education.
And so when did you realize that you weren't okay?
After I graduated.
So how much longer before you graduated?
It was 11 months after she passed. I graduated 11 months. So I graduated May of 2015. Okay. So after that, after I finished school, like I was just like in limbo, doing some research, what am I going to do next? I'm still here in New Jersey. And I was like, you know what? Because I had been taking care of her for over 21 years, I didn't know what to do. You
didn't know what your life consisted of.
Nothing.
So do you think, and we're still not there yet, but do you think that you were maybe in a functional depression while you were in school? Like when you still had that last year, do you think that you were, because I experienced a depression where people on the outside didn't know, because I was still functioning, you were still functioning, you were going to school and working.
I was still
functioning, but when I was home, it was very dark.
Yeah.
It was very dark for me. It was very sad. Things seemed to be very bleak. There were days when I had nothing to do, like when I didn't have an agenda for the day. Like I could literally not brush my teeth till 4 or 5 o'clock in
Right.
the afternoon.
Right.
You know, I could literally go that whole day without showering because I was just in a fog.
And it was very dark. And when I say very dark and gloomy, like I didn't know what to do with myself. Like I was just like, okay, what am I gonna do next? Because it was to the point sometimes I would still wake up and go to the next room to check
Thinking
on
she
her
was- yeah.
that she was there. Like I gotta get her up,
Uh-huh.
and I get in there and she's not there.
Let me ask you this, and I want you to really hear what I'm asking you. Was there ever a moment where once she was gone that you breathed like a sigh of relief that either you didn't have the burden or she didn't have to suffer anymore? Was there ever that moment where you felt like, where you just, no?
No, I didn't get that relief until this year,
Okay.
May 7th of this
Uh-huh.
year. I didn't get that relief. Even though I was okay, but I wasn't okay. And I was going to therapists.
So what prompted you to go to therapy?
I knew that I wasn't healing.
You just knew.
I wasn't healing.
So nobody said, well, maybe you should go and speak to somebody. You just did it at your own volition.
I did it at my own.
Okay.
And I knew that I wasn't healing properly.
So how did you find your therapist?
Online.
Okay, you just went and looked.
I was also using the school as well, the counselor at school. And I just, just kind of sort out, and I was just talking to people, and just asking, where can I go for help, and like my school therapist, the counselor, she was like, okay, I think you need to call these people because I would see her twice a week.
Okay, the school counselor. Okay.
And even after I graduated, which
you would still go back to her even after you graduated, which like you were gonna say she didn't have to do that, right?
She didn't have to do it, but she did.
Yeah.
And so I said, let me go, let me find out, what I need to do to get myself together because I knew I wasn't happy. I had started to become very angry. I was pacing the floors all night long. I would walk the city at night, even in the snow.
Doing what though?
Just walking, because I was lost.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have my routine that I would do.
Yeah, you didn't know what to do with your time.
I didn't know what to do with all this extra time I had on my hands.
And you said you were angry, so like how did your anger show itself? Did it come out in like road rage or
no.
what?
It came out in my conversations. I just was to the point where if somebody said something wrong, I was ready to fight.
Right.
Because I had so much anger. And my patience is so good. But I was just ready to fight, just because I knew it had to come out. And so they put me on.
Well, wait, hold on. Let's get there slowly. So your school counselor referred you to outside resources. And so you got with them and you started going to them. And how long were you going to them before they started to prescribe you?
They actually prescribed me medication right then and there.
Okay, when you first went to them. Okay.
Because at the end of the day, it wasn't no self-harm. I wasn't trying to harm myself or anything. But at the same time, I just felt like, what am I living for at the same time? And like I couldn't piece it together. And so I would see them twice a week as well. Like
so
I saw two different therapists. So basically my whole free time, I was going to see therapists because I knew that I wasn't healing.
Yeah.
And so basically I had designed my whole life around therapy.
So you were going to the school counselor 2 days a week and then you were going to the outside resources 2 days a week.
Yes. So basically that's what my whole schedule consisted of, therapy.
So they prescribed you
medication.
They prescribed you medication. And this is a little bit of what you kind of gave me that day when we met at the grocery store. And how long were you on it?
I was on medication for maybe a year and a half.
Okay. And how did it make you feel?
Basically, the medication, it made me really mask everything that I was going through. Mm-hmm. And I can't tell everybody that medication doesn't work, and it does if you need it. Mm-hmm. But
for you,
it didn't work for me because it hindered my grieving process.
Yes.
Because people fail to realize, and I kept telling them, I'm not grieving properly. I didn't get because I know that my hard work and what I stood for and what the life that I gave my daughter, I know that it wasn't in vain. And I didn't have a relief at all. So basically, I feel like the medication was basically hindering me from grieving.
And so did it make you feel loopy?
It made me go into a deeper depression. Oh. It didn't relieve me. I was, I was high, off the medication, and I was doing some things that you shouldn't even do. Sometimes I would drink.
I was just going to ask you that.
I would drink with the medication, and that's a big no-no.
Yeah.
And it had got to the point, even when I would work, because I had started working like third shift, just to do something.
Yeah.
But I will drink. I would take the medication and drink at the same time so I can go to sleep. And I would sleep all day until it was time for me to go back to work.
The reason I was going to ask you if you developed any type of unhealthy type behaviors is because that's usually a symptom of depression.
Right.
For me, and those that are listening that read my first book, you already know my story. So like for me, when I was at the height of my depression,
you would drink.
I wasn't drinking. No. See, I think, and that's the thing. Like everybody have different outlets, different vices. Like some people they drink, some people they shop, some people eat. For me, I was having sex.
Right. Oh wow.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Getting it in.
Okay.
And I had to catch myself. I was just like, well, wait a minute now.
Because you live in a dangerous life.
Yeah.
It was dangerous.
And that's why, today when I say I'm so grateful for that process, for that experience, because I got through that process without ever contracting any type of STD.
Right.
Or getting raped or killed or anything could have happened. You know what I'm saying? So for you, you started drinking.
I started drinking. And it wasn't like I was a drunk all day long.
Right.
I just knew that because I was on the medication for a minute and I built up a tolerance against it. So basically I started drinking with the medication so I can get that effect.
Yeah, you were trying to get back to that feeling.
I was just trying to get back to that feeling.
Yeah.
And I would, still come home to Georgia and Alabama, to see my family and friends, but I wasn't me.
And did any of them notice?
No, but I don't think nobody really knew.
And see, it was easy for you to hide it because you were living in Jersey.
Yeah. So.
And see, that's why I say a functional depression because, you were able to mask it when you came down here or to Alabama.
And nobody knew.
Right, you were still going to work.
I was a walking pharmacy. Basically, I was a walking pharmacy. I had enough medication to the point where I could have gave you some. But that's just how I was a walking.
Right. So what was the turning point when you decided enough is enough? So was it first, I need to get off of this medication because it's not working? Or was it, I need to get off this medication because now I'm at the point where I'm abusing it? Or was it a combination of both?
I had to, I knew that when I had this out-of-body experience, and I knew, my doctor was like, you still on medication,
Because they were thinking that you would only be on there for a period of time.
Right. And here it is a year in the past, and I'm still on it.
Yeah.
And I'm still coming to you with the same issue.
Right.
And I'm just like, you know what? I knew I had I was like, no, something is not right. This is not me. I'm not happy. I'm not smiling. I'm not my fun-loving self that all my family and friends know, And some of the things I had started doing stupid things. Right. Only because that was my way of trying to let them know something was wrong with me. But they so used to me being so well together and nobody paid attention.
Right.
To my cry.
What do you mean that you did something stupid? Like what?
It was just like, just say for instance, like I told you, I would want to fight, argue, just cuss people out, and that's not me. You know, it took me. I was out of my character on a lot of things. You know, a lot of things, and
she's nodding her head, so she must have noticed.
Yeah, and even with her, I was just out of character on a lot of things.
So what was the turning point for you? So the doctor said, okay, you're still on this medication, and you should.
No, I told you I had an out-of-body experience.
Tell me that. You did tell me that in the grocery store that day. Okay.
I had an out-of-body experience, and I was to the point of, when I tell you I didn't grieve properly over my daughter, and I really didn't get peace. Even though in the back of my mind I knew I was at peace, but I still had to get that peace. My out-of-body experience, where I was having to the point where I was fly from New Jersey to Georgia, from Georgia to Alabama. I was taking my daughter in her casket everywhere I went.
So in this out-of-body experience, this is what was happening?
Yes. I would take her out her casket. When we get to the house, I would lay her back in the bed, cover her up. I knew something wasn't right.
Right. So when you had these out-of-body experiences, was it in the form of like a dream? Or were you just like literally sitting and your mind would just kind of wander?
Sitting and my mind would wander. Even sometimes when I dream. But I was to the point where, why am I taking my daughter out her casket? Why am I having a funeral over and over again? And I'm just sitting here just...
And so what did that mean to you? Like, what do you think that meant?
I knew that I wasn't healing.
Yeah.
Because I know that she's at peace, you know.
But you needed to still get there.
But I needed to get there because she was born. No, she didn't commit any crime. You know, she was an angel. So I knew that she was good. I wasn't good. So once I was like, you know, once I move back to Georgia, you know, I'm gonna come here. I worked hard. I saved my money. So that way, my first year, I need to do this. This is something that I need to do because why should I have to still be a walk-in pharmacy?
So how much time had passed from the out-of-body experience to you moving back down south?
So basically, just say the end of 2016. Okay. I knew that I had to make a change.
And then with that was also coming off the medication. And so
basically, I just said, you know, because you just can't jump and get off medication. Right. You actually have to go the right process, you know, because when you're taking Valium, you're taking Seroquel, you're taking some heavy medication, and you're on some high dosages. I wouldn't recommend nobody to just jump off of it. That's something you have to take it, you know, the doctor.
How did you wean yourself from it?
So basically, I just started like taking less, and I told my doctor, I was like, I want to get off medication. And when I went for my next appointment, she wrote me a prescription. I don't want it.
Okay. So you first started taking less. Was it a lower dosage?
A lower dosage.
Okay.
I would break them in half.
Okay.
Only because I would just take it enough so I can go to sleep. Because for those first 2 years, I didn't sleep at all. My mind was like
constantly racing.
Yeah, like I didn't have no peace. Like,
which is why you were walking at night.
Walking at night in the city. I would walk, catch the train from New Jersey to New York, and just walk the streets.
You know, the thing is, you just never know what people are going through.
You never know.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there have been times that I've been in the car, and I'll look over at people in their car, and they just look like they have the weight of the world on their shoulder. And you just don't know if they've just lost their home, if they've just lost a child, if they've just gone through a divorce. Like, you just don't know what people are going through.
You never know. So basically, I started weaning myself off of it, you know, under doctor's care. And then when I got back to Georgia, because I knew that New Jersey wasn't home, I didn't have my family, I didn't have the support of nobody behind me, which I did, but at the same time, it's nothing like home. So basically, when I got back here, I knew that I needed to grieve, and I knew what I needed to do. And so when I got here, I was just like, I don't want any more medication. You know, I have to do this, because I knew that my daughter wouldn't be wanting me sitting here just wasting my
Stuck.
life away, stuck.
Yeah.
Taking pills and alcohol just to, you know, to be at peace with her situation. And you know, so basically I just had to, people fail to realize that even though, say you're grieving, don't pick up pick up the phone and say, "Oh, I'm just checking on you."
Yes.
Or send a text message, "Oh, I'm just checking on you." If that person come across your mind, get up, get in the car, and go over there and see what's going on with that person, because God didn't lay that person on your heart that day.
Yes.
So that's basically, nobody was checking on me.
Yeah. Yeah.
They would text, they'll pick up the phone and call me, but nobody
came to see about you.
To see me.
Yeah.
Because at that time, I wasn't in the best.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting that you say that, because I have this new thing that I've been doing probably over the past month. And I did it yesterday. I did it, I think, the day before. Whenever a person crosses my mind, even if it's somebody that I talk to on a consistent basis, but especially those that I don't talk to regularly, I'm going to reach out to them and say, hey, but one of the problems when people lose someone, we're always very much so there for them up to the funeral.
Right.
Because but then it's the days, the weeks, the months after that nobody checks on them. It's almost like, because the funeral happened, you just feel like the person is good now. But they still need you to drive by, pick them up.
Come over.
Yeah, keep them
company.
company.
Over and give me I needed a hug that day.
Yeah.
You don't know, but I needed a hug that day. When I woke up this morning, I was in such a bad place. But you just don't know, if you had came and knocked on my door out of surprise, just to come see what I'm doing. A phone call, that's fine. A text is fine. But seeing me physically, you never know. You could have said, saved my life that day, because you don't know if my mind, I wanted to go commit suicide, if I wanted to harm myself, or if I just wanted to do something stupid. Yeah. But you knocking on my door.
Yeah. Yeah. Could have interrupted all of that.
A whole.
Yeah.
And so that's why I always say, you know, you have to, it's beyond, it's actually beyond the death.
Yeah.
And people need to realize that. You know, we all grieving, and then
people grieve differently.
People grieve differently, and that's why I say everybody saw me so well together, and how I handled her disability, and they didn't expect me, but I was crying out for help.
Yeah. So does your family know all of this stuff now?
They know now.
And so how did you end up telling them? Like, what made you?
Well, I didn't tell them right away.
Okay.
And so, like I have to say again, once I knew what I had to do to get to really grieve, because it was no reason why I should be seeing my daughter in the casket. You know?
Yeah, you still visualizing that. Yeah.
I needed to see her playing, running, laughing, and that's what I always at peace, and I never got that.
Right.
So I had to go in solidarity, and trust me, your family member, if they really love you and they really support you and they really understand you and understand what you're really going through, if that person, if I'm grieving, let me go in my solidarity. That means I have to pull away from everybody because I'm so vulnerable right now. You vulnerable, you weak, you open, and that's when I tell you, that's about the good, the bad, and the ugly of grief.
So when you were in this phase where you were by yourself, you were drinking, were you making any unhealthy choices in terms of dating?
No.
Or were you not at all involved?
I wasn't dating at all.
Because that's oftentimes when we're
I was actually going through a divorce.
Okay.
And I had to go through a divorce.
Yeah.
And even though my husband was a good stepfather to my daughter, but at the same time, I wasn't.
Yes.
I wasn't a wife. Even though I kept saying
you weren't present.
I wasn't present. I had checked out my marriage.
Yeah.
And he was a good support system.
Yeah.
And I kept explaining to him, you know what, I think I have to go back to Georgia. And even when I got back home to Georgia just to relax, he would call, 30 times a day, which it was okay. But at the same time, I just needed that time.
Yeah.
So basically, I just had to go through my divorce, and just, we're friends to this day.
What point how old was your daughter when you married him?
Oh, God. We got married in 2011.
And what year was she born?
She was born in 92.
So she was about, what's that? Is that 9?
No, she
19?
was. This is 19.
She
was like 17.
She was 17. My math is a little off.
Yeah, mine's too.
Okay, so he was there for a considerable amount of years, the last few years. So I can understand that because I remember even being in the height of my depression, being in relationships and not being present. And I often say that if I could go back and be a different me, a different version of myself at that time, I'm sure the relationship could have been different. Do you think if it had been a different space and time that marriage would still...
At that point, because like I said, that's when I was on medication. I was drinking with the medication. So basically, I wasn't happy. I had to suppress so much to the point of I wasn't true to myself. And so if I can't be true to myself, how can I be true to my husband?
Was he aware of the drinking and the medication?
Yeah, he knows.
Okay.
Yeah.
He knew at the time?
Yeah, he knew.
Okay.
At the end of the day, I wasn't true to myself, and how can I give him and be a wife and I'm not true? I wasn't cheating. I never cheated on my husband, and we had a good marriage, a good relationship, but at the end of the day, it doesn't make any sense for me to drag him along in what I have going through.
Right.
And even though he was there, he supported me, but at the same time, I was so broken and so damaged to the point of,
So, were you still married when your daughter passed? Okay. So how did he...
He was, like I said, he was a very good support system. Like we talk to this day. We're friends.
Yeah.
And it's better that way, But at the same time, I didn't want to keep bringing him along in my depression.
Yeah.
Because he loved me and he saw me hurting, but he didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
He didn't know how to heal me. He didn't know how to fix me.
So,
and I was so because I was just so low in my life.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't bring him along with that. And so that's why I said I can't be selfish and just tag him along in my bullshit.
So once you realized what you needed, which was the solitude, how did you start to kind of...
And what I started doing, because I knew that I had to go into deep solidarity, like I just had to really dig deep into myself. I didn't go out. I would work, come home to my room, because at the same time, like I told you, when you're grieving and you're hurting, that's why I told you the good, the bad, and the ugly side of grief. It's like a bug. It's an infestation. It just like leeches onto you. And if you don't have the proper treatment to maintain or to kill this infestation, it was going on. And I was bringing everybody along with me.
Yeah.
I was everybody who you getting on it too. So basically, you have to go in solidarity. You have to go deep within yourself and really find out the really root of
the
your
root cause.
Yes. How can you come at peace? Like I had to seek God.
Yeah.
I had to seek, I didn't talk to nobody, and it wasn't to hurt anybody's feeling, but I had to do it because if I didn't do it, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you today.
Yeah. No, I completely get that, because...
And people have to respect that.
They do.
That's the thing. People don't want to respect when if I'm not picking up the phone, if I say I'm okay, I'm okay. But if I'm I'm not going out, I'm not doing anything, I'm just working, coming home, and I resort to my bedroom, let me be, because at the end of the day, I can't just be out and about. You got your problems, so guess what I'm gonna do? And I'm so into you and your issues. I'm going to hinder my own healing process, and so basically I'm taking on what you got going on.
Would you say, because for me, I believe that depression can be a springboard to a new life for yourself.
It can.
Because for me, it was very dark. It was very lonely. And I was very isolated.
Right.
Because it was a period where I was transitioning through different friendships. I was cycling through different friendships. But I think that's, in the greater context of things, I think that was a pruning process that God or the universe was like, taking me through. So he was stripping me of like certain people that were in my life at that time that weren't going to the next phase in my life. But it was also a part of me that had to die. There was some dying that I had to do. And I say this all the time, and I've joked about it before on my live about Lauryn Hill. Lauryn Hill has this MTV Unplugged DVD that she did, CD that she did some years ago. And there's a song on there where she says, you know, I had to do some dying.
Right.
And I related to that because it just simply meant I had to leave a part of myself behind. You know, that part of me had to die. Yeah. You know, and sometimes I think that, you know, you have to be stripped. And again, God, the universe, knows what each of us needs to blossom, to bloom to that next level.
Yes.
And it's painful.
Oh yeah.
But I believe the greatest amount of growth comes from the most painful experiences.
It does, because it makes you it makes you have a whole different prospect and outlook on life.
Yes, yeah.
Because and people don't know, and then like I told you, I had to really go and really seek my purpose on here, of being here and still continuing to walk.
And what is it?
My new purpose is to basically be a voice, and to be a voice of reasoning to young mothers, especially when they're having kids with special needs, because you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
You know, let me show you what I did. You don't have to do exactly what I did, but you can take the tools that I'm giving you and use it to help you in your situation. You know, because everybody can't deal with a special needs child. Yeah. They can't.
Yeah. And to your point, I think that death gives life purpose.
It does.
It gives life purpose. You know, and I believe that it encourages us and it challenges us to live even more fervently.
Right.
And if you're on your course and you have no idea, you're on your life course and you have no idea what your purpose is, sometimes the death of a loved one can trigger that for you.
But people fail to realize too, and I learned this while I was in solidarity and while I was talking to God, and when I finally got when I got it,
yes,
I learned that through my daughter's passing, I ended up taking on her whole persona, her behavior. You become that person who passed away. And people don't realize that. Just say if your grandmother raised you and she was a significant part of your life, and she passed away, you're going to end up finding yourself cooking like grandma. Yeah. Talking like grandma. Acting like grandma. The same behavior. You're gonna have those. You're gonna see it. Yeah. So I find myself when picking up my daughter's behavior, like, cause she couldn't talk. So you will see me, and sometimes I will meet people or be in conversations or be out in the present, and folks are just talking around me. So I won't say anything, and I'm just listening. Yeah. You know. You be surprised of what death really can do. That's what I say, you know, and even in my downtime and even in my grief, people try to use me. And see, if you don't, that's what I'm saying, people will use you when you're grieving.
Because your inhibitions are down.
You're weak.
Yeah.
Your guard is down. You're not paying attention. You don't have the right people around you. And even if that right person is around you, people will study your habits and what you're doing in your grief, and they know, and they will prey on it.
Do you feel like that happened to you?
It could have. And I'm pretty sure it did. I'm pretty sure it did. But at the same time, I'm glad it happened. Yeah. Because now I don't have to deal with you anymore. Because a lot of things that was happening, I wasn't paying attention. And once I went into solidarity, I was like,
you get a certain level of clarity.
I got it. And I remember everything that you did and that person did.
And see, that's one of the things that I say on here all of the time too, because depression, once you get to a space where you can kind of clear your mind a bit, if you sit still long enough, you can really pay attention to your life. And this is why at the end of my lives, I always say, pay attention to your life. pay close attention to your life.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You got to have that moment at the end of the day, week, the end of the month, something where you sit down and really just kind of evaluate your life. Yeah, and just pay attention to stuff.
And that's what I say. People say it all the time. People do it all the time. And I tell anybody, if I can leave anybody with anything, if you know, have a team together. Like, we never plan for death.
I say a tribe. You gotta have your tribe.
Have a team together because just in case y'all have it together. Say you going through grief hits your family member, or have that cousin, your best cousin that you know you can depend on, and have that uncle that you know you can depend on. So that way you finna be attacked because everything is gonna come at you. Yeah. But as long as you got your uncle and your cousin that you put on your team to be that blocker and the defense, you get
that buffer.
It's gonna work. So everybody needs to have a team. You got to have that team because you're gonna be. You get attacked so much.
Do you still go to therapy now?
No.
Okay, so you.
I do. Let me take that back.
Checks.
I go for a maintenance check, and I have to do that just to make sure I'm checking with myself. But I thank God every day that I'm not taking medication at night to go to sleep. I'm not taking medication to function. I'm able to live my life. I'm at peace.
So where do you find your joy now?
Right now, I'm just working.
Okay.
Working. And my niece. And my mom and my stepdad, Okay. But basically, I'm still, I'm learning to live. That basically, I'm learning.
Because it's only been 5 years.
Yeah, I'm learning to live. Yeah. So basically, I haven't lived in 5 years. Right. So basically, I'm learning to live.
So you're just learning what you like.
I'm learning, because I've never been alone. I've been dating since I was 16, so I haven't, since me and my husband got a divorce in 2017. Well, we separated in September of 2017. Okay. And our divorce became official in June of 2018. Okay. So basically, I've been single all that time. Yeah. And it's okay.
It is, and I think
people don't know that. But I needed that because I didn't want to bring the next relationship or bring the next person into what I had going on.
You gotta clear the stuff out.
I was damaged. Yeah. I didn't want to turn to sex because I wasn't gonna be healing. I'm just basically I'm masking it. Sex is just masking the situation. Yeah. So I just wanted to be by myself in solidarity, and I just feel like I saved a lot of people by doing that. I may have hurt some people, but at the end of the day. If you understand and if you really love me and you really was there for me and you know what I was going through. Yeah. Because when you lose your only child, so just give me that time to heal. It may be a year, maybe a two, but once I got myself together, then I'm back. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I'm just learning to live.
I so appreciate you telling your story. I'm so glad we actually made this happen. Like, I literally met you 2 months ago, and did you think that I forgot?
No, I just knew you guys were busy.
Honestly, because you follow the show and stuff like that. Because I was just like, I've got to call her. And I looked on because I had your number in my notes on my phone. And I said to Madison probably like a couple weeks ago, I said, I never called that girl from Publix. And Madison was like, oh, Craig, you ain't shit. Oh. And I said, no, I think I have it, though. And so I looked it up, and I said, her number is in here. And so I had it. And so I'm glad you came over here, because I really do believe that somebody will hear something, even if their story isn't identical to yours. Right. I think there are probably people that will hear this, and hopefully it will trigger them to reach out for support. Yeah.
And if anybody has a family member or a friend that's going through grief, don't pick up the phone. Don't text. Get in your car. Get on the plane. And go knock on the door. And go, because they need that hug. They need it. So basically, you have to just, you can't just say, oh, what are you doing today? You okay? Because I'm going to lie to you. I'm okay. I'm doing good. But I'm not doing good. Yeah. Knock on that door. Yeah. Reach out. Hold their hand. Put your arms around that person because they need it.
Well, the comments on YouTube and Facebook, they're saying you really helped me today.
Oh, I hope
really
so.
needed to hear this today. So listen, I appreciate you again for coming and talking to us.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate everybody for listening and tuning in. And hopefully that my story, reach out and, it touch somebody. And like I said, I'm just learning to live, and grief is hard, but you can get through it. I wouldn't recommend nobody just jump off medication, but at the same time, if you can wean yourself off the medication, get with your doctor and do it the proper way, because the medication for me, it hindered my process, and I wasn't living. So once I got myself off the medication, because basically it kept me in that place. I wasn't growing. I wasn't happy. So once you get off the medication and just start living a healthier life and just finding out, what's your purpose and what do you have to do from, what do you got to do from now? What's next?
What are the next steps?
What's next? Yeah. So once you do that, trust me, it's a good process, a very good process.
Yeah. Please hit the share button.
Yes.
If this is your first time listening to So Much to Say, please share this link. We're available for free in Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube,
y'all.
Wherever you can listen to a podcast.
And if y'all want to follow me,
yes, go ahead.
I think I'm gonna start. I am gonna start.
Yes,
I'm going to start. And I'm gonna
that...
it's called the Step In and Step Up Initiative of Grief, and we have to do it because we all dealing with it. So we have to step in and step up. So basically, y'all follow me at Ashia _9214. On IG, and then we're gonna go from there.
Yes, but I think that I love the name, the Step In.
We have to step in and step up.
Yeah, initiative. I think that might be part of what you're called to do. Like even in the way that you look at Trayvon Martin's mom.
Yes.
As unfortunate as that was, look at what she's doing now. She's actually running for public office now. You know what I'm saying? But even before that, she was doing all of this work. Around police harassment and violence and all of that, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes we don't understand it in the moment, but it's always designed to grow us and to pull the best out of us.
I'll have to say one more thing to everybody. So when I graduated college from Felician College, it was Felician College, but in 2016 they became a university in Rutherford and Lodi, New Jersey. So basically, when I was going through my grief and I actually went back to school, my professors, they saw what I was going through, but they saw my dedication to my education as well. And believe it or not, I did my senior research, I did my project, everything. And because I have a degree in biology and chemistry, so basically I had to go before the board, the committee at school, did my research, and my professor pulled me to the side because at that time I was doing analytical chemistry, and so that's like
and the fact that you were doing all of that
right.
Yeah, go ahead.
So my professor, she pulled me to the side. She was like, I can't believe you were doing your research and you was dealing with grief at the same time. So my biggest accomplishment when I graduated, but I also the person who I was doing it for wasn't there, and I wanted my daughter to be at the end of that stage when I walked across, and she wasn't there. So me just going through the motion, graduating college and everything, my school gave me a citation from the state of New Jersey. They recognized me for my hard work and dedication.
That's awesome.
And I didn't even know it.
Yeah.
But after I realized, I got a citation from the state of New Jersey, from the Senate.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Well, I wish you nothing but the best.
I know, right?
I wish you nothing but the best. We definitely want to hear more about Step In and Step Up.
Okay.
So yeah, you go ahead and get you a 501c3.
Yes.
And make it happen, because this could be a part of what you were called to do.
Yes.
This may be your life's work.
We never know. But hopefully you guys, I reach out. Hopefully my story helps somebody today. Even if it's just one person. But if you do know somebody who actually is going through the grieving process, get in the car. Sometimes just take a weekend, get on a plane, a bus, whatever you have to do. Just go knock on that person's door, because trust me, your face and that hug and just your comfort it means a whole lot.
Do you guys have any questions?
Yes,
They're like, thank you for this. I lost my son. Like they're really in these comments. They said, come on, step in and step up.
Okay, yes,
Somebody said, thank you for putting this mirror in my face today. Somebody else over here was saying that they are going through depression right now and they need to
Yes.
hear
And
this.
even if I can just, reach out to me, shoot me a DM, I'll answer any questions that you need. And
What's
I'll
your
just,
Instagram again?
Ashia, ASHIA _ at 9214.
Yes.
Yes. So I'll just, hopefully I can, just be a voice for somebody, just that lending ear. And if I had the funds, I would come knock on your door and just give you that hug, because you really do need, that touch. You need that affection,
And I'm sure you can find some sort of grant funding that could help you get this started, get this organization started.
Well, hopefully I'm gonna just do it on my own, but any resources I can, but sometimes you just don't want that. I want to do this on my own, Right. People give, they give, but I don't want nobody to say I help you,
Right?
Because that's not what I want to do, and that's not my call, my prayer to God.
Right.
I want to do this, and I want to do it the right way.
That's awesome. All right, well, listen, I gotta let Ashia go. I didn't know we were gonna do this live.
I know, right?
I didn't know I was gonna do this. I just thought we were gonna record. And I was gonna drop it tomorrow, and she said, "No, baby, I done came in here with my hair, makeup, and stuff done.
Like,
I need to get on this camera."
Right.
I said, "Okay, niece.
Okay.
Okay, niece, we get on camera."
So hopefully, you guys, I know it's Father's Day, and like we say, Happy Father's Day to all the fathers, the stepdad, the grandfathers, the uncles, and the brothers, because they all play a big role and a significant role in the our children's lives. So Happy Father's Day.
And I know that there's a whole community that listens to the podcast that doesn't come on the live. So that was another reason why I figured I would go ahead and just record it and or put it up here on the live for you guys. But yeah, so anyway, but thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys later.
Yes.
Happy Sunday.
Thank you guys. Hopefully Craig will invite me back.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm gonna invite you back when you get step in and step up together.
We're gonna do this.
All right, bye.